Japan is a country not only known for its ancient civilization and rich culture, but also for its deeply significant and often painful history of war. Located in East Asia, Japan is home to a unique blend of tradition, spirituality, nature, and modernity. Wars have played a crucial role in shaping the identity of this island nation. In ancient times, Japan was divided into many small provinces, each ruled by local warlords who commanded their own private armies. Among the most famous and respected figures in Japanese history were the samurai elite warriors who followed a strict code of conduct called the Bushido, which emphasized loyalty, bravery, and honor. The samurai were the backbone of Japan's feudal military system, and their legacy still lives on in Japanese culture. One of the most turbulent periods in Japanese history was the Sengoku period, also known as the Warring States era, which lasted for about a century. During this time, various warlords fought brutally for control over Japan. Legendary figures like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged, fighting to unify the country. Eventually, Japan entered the Edo period under the Tokugawa shogunate, a long era of peace and isolation where the country closed itself off from most foreign influence for more than 2 centuries. But this isolation couldn't last forever. In the mid-19th century, Western powers began to exert pressure on Japan to open its ports and interact with the outside world. In 1853, U.S. Commodore Perry arrived in Japan with a fleet of warships and forced Japan to begin international. This triggered a political and social revolution known as the Meiji Restoration, where Japan underwent rapid modernization. The government restructured, the army was modernized, education was expanded, and industries flourished. Japan began to follow the Western path and rise. In 1904, Japan shocked the world by defeating Russia in the Russo-Japanese War, the first time in modern history that an Asian power had defeated a European empire. This victory gave Japan confidence and ambitions to expand it. It joined the Allies during World War I and gained territories in the Pacific and Asia. However, the most dramatic and devastating chapter of Japan's military history unfolded during World War II. In 1937, Japan launched a full-scale invasion of China and committed several atrocities, including the infamous Nanjing Massacre. Japan's military aggression continued, and in 1941, it attacked the United States Pearl Harbor Naval Base in Hawaii without warning. This attack brought the U.S. into the war and marked the beginning of intense conflict in the Pacific. During World War II, Japan rapidly conquered large parts of Asia and the Pacific. But its expansion came at a terrible cost. Millions died due to war crimes, forced labor, and occupation policies. In response, Allied forces began to push Japan back island by island-buddy battles across the Pacific. When Japan refused to surrender, the United States made a horrific decision that changed the course of history. 3 days later, a second bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. These 2 bombings resulted in immense human suffering and destruction. Hundreds of thousands died instantly or later due to radiation exposure. On August 15, 1945, Japan finally surrendered unconditionally, bringing an end to World War II. After the war, Japan was placed under American occupation. A new constitution was drafted, and Article 9 of that constitution famously stated that Japan would never wage war. The Japanese military was dissolved and replaced by a self-defense force intended only for the protection of the nation, with no offensive military ambitions. Japan turned its focus entirely to rebuilding. The country began an extraordinary. It invested in education, technology, industry, and international cooperation. Within a few decades, Japan went from a bombed-out, war-torn nation to one of the richest, most advanced, and most peaceful countries in the world. Iconic companies like Toyota, Sony, Panasonic, and Honda became global brands, and Japanese innovations began to shape the modern world. Culturally, Japan retained its deep sense of discipline, harmony, dedication to excellence. The horrors of war taught the Japanese people the true value of peace, and Japan became a leading voice for nuclear disarmament and diplomacy in global affairs. It joined the United Nations, the G7, and became a key ally of many democratic countries, including the United States. Today, Japan stands as a beacon of resilience, development, and peace. While its past was marked by feudal wars, expansionist ambitions, and tragic destruction, its post-war recovery is an inspiring story of how a nation can rise from the ashes. Japan's journey teaches us that history is not just... Mistakes of the past can be lessons for the future. With unity, vision, and hard work, even the most broken nations can become global leaders. The story of Japan is not just about war. It is about survival, wisdom, and transformation. A country once defined by its warriors and empires now defines itself through peace, technology, and cultural influence.
Whether in the fields of robotics, anime, sustainable living, or public discipline, Japan continues to impress and inspire the world.
For anyone struggling through conflict, loss, or hardship, Japan's story proves that even after the darkest nights, dawn always returns. Through education, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to peace, any nation